Hello, my name is Marianne and welcome to Once a Duckling, where this week I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this beautiful ruffle wreath with some deco-mesh and some ribbons. First things first, let me show you some of the materials that we're going to be using. So I'm using a 12-inch wreath frame, some deco-mesh in pink and white, a rotary cutter, and I've got my cutting board as well. So next we're going to be cutting the deco-mesh at lengths of 26 inches each. Now we're going to need 20 lengths all in all, so I'm going to have 10 of the pink and 10 of the white, and where I'm cutting I've measured it out to be 26 inches. So once I've done the 10 for the pink, I'm moving over to the white and doing exactly the same, cutting them at 26-inch lengths and 10 of those as well. Now I've got all my materials, including the rotary cutter, the cutting board and the deco-mesh from Amazon, and I will put the link down below. And here I'm just showing you very quickly how much I had left over, which you can use for a different project. Next you're going to take a pipe cleaner, and then I'm attaching the pipe cleaner to the second bar, going from the outside to the inside, using the second bar to secure the pipe cleaner in place. And next we're going to create some ruffles. So I'm going to start off with rolling the deco-mesh inwards, and then with my fingers just walking up the center of the deco-mesh, and when I get to the end, rolling that bit inwards as well. You kind of get that tube effect at the start and at the end, and all I'm doing now is just securing it in place with the pipe cleaner. And you may be wondering what on earth the remote control was doing there. I was kind of trying to weigh the deco-mesh down. It was getting away from me, and I thought it might help to actually keep it in place. But in the end, it just got in my way and I just got rid of it. If you're not happy with how the first one looks or the first time, just keep going until you are happy with your ruffle. So for the second one, I'm going to go to the third bar. So I'm taking another pipe cleaner, I'm going to the third bar, and I'm taking one of the white ones. Again, you can see I've folded it over with my fingers. I'm just walking down the center of the deco-mesh material, and then when I get to the end, I'm rolling that deco-mesh inwards to kind of create that tube effect at the end. And again, as simple as that, just securing it to the pipe cleaner, which is now on the third bar. So all you're going to be doing is alternating between the pink and the white and the second and the third bar. Now you will notice that I haven't got rid of the pipe cleaners yet, because we're going to be opening them up later on to add some ribbon to this as well. So keep the pipe cleaners as they are, give it a couple of twists just to keep it in place, and just keep going with this project. As you can see, I've taken another pipe cleaner. I'm going back to the second bar because we're alternating. So back to the second bar and back to the pink. So I think I'm going to do one more in real time, and then I'm going to speed up this video slightly. So start off with rolling it inwards, walking up the material until you get to the end, and then folding the last little bit inwards as well. So you kind of get that tube. Put it in place. Put it in the pipe cleaner, give it a couple of twists, and that's the third one done. And now you know exactly the process. I'm going to speed up this video slightly until the end when we've completed all the ruffles. Just to mention that you're going to need 4 ruffles for each section. So because there's 5 sections, 4 ruffles each makes you 20. And here I'm just completing the last little bit, really sort of getting in there and just putting everything into place when we have finished all of our ruffles. Next I picked up some gorgeous pink ribbons, and again we'll put the link below where I got these ribbons from. You can have a look to see which type of ribbons you want to have. I went for a combination of the 2.5-inch one and some of the smaller ones, and we're going to be creating some bundles with them and adding them to the wreath for some extra colour. So I went for 3 different types of ribbons, and I cut each ribbon at 12 inches each and then dovetailed them, and we're going to be making 7 bundles of 3 ribbons each. And all I'm doing here, I'm taking the slightly wider one, the 2.5-inch ribbon at the bottom, and then crisscrossing the smaller ones over the top and securing them with a zip tie. You can go for all 2.5-inch ribbons. You can mix it up with the 2.5 and the 1.5, and as you can see, I've used a combination of wired ribbon and not wired ribbon just to create these bundles. It's totally up to you, and have a look to see what you can find in various shops. Now the bundle is not going to look perfect at this stage, but that is absolutely fine. I'm just going to be cutting off the back and creating 7 of these bundles that we're going to be placing within the deco mesh, and then once they're in place, you can kind of position them to where you want them to be. So once you've created your ribbon bundle, you're going to be taking your deco mesh wreath and you're going to pick a starting point. It really doesn't matter at this stage where you're going to start. I think I went for that pink one. Don't know why I'm closing it, because I need to open it back up again, which is what I'm doing here. So open up the pipe cleaners, take your ribbon bundle, place it inside, and then close the pipe cleaner and put it in place. Now at this stage, it's not too important whether it is in exactly the position that you want it to be, because once everything is in place, we're going to be fluffing it up and just making it look all pretty. Now you're roughly aiming for every third bundle to add some ribbons. It's not exact science. As I said, I used 7 all in all, and you just have a bit of a play with it to see what position you want them to be in. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just making the bundles, speeding up the video slightly, and you can see I'm just creating those little ribbon bundles, 7 all in all, and then grabbing my wreath and securing them into place in between the pipe cleaners. And for this gorgeous pink wreath, what could be more beautiful than this lovely welcome sign for a little baby girl? So let me show you how I attach it to the actual wreath. So I got some felt from the range, and I'm cutting 2 small strips of felt, and I have 2 large zip ties. Now they need to be quite large because we're going to be attaching it from the top of the wreath to the wreath frame. So flip it round and make sure that the zip tie closes the right way. So obviously we're going to be attaching that to the wreath frame, so we want to make sure that the zip tie is actually going to be closing in the right position. Now next, you grab a glue gun or with a glue stick, which I didn't have to hand, so as if by magic, I have grabbed a glue stick and I've just attached a little bit of glue, or put a little bit of glue on the felt, and I'm attaching it to the back of the sign. And I'm doing the same thing for the one at the bottom. So I want to have 2 zip ties, one at the top, one at the bottom, to be able to level it out once you've attached it to the wreath frame and make sure it sits nice and flush. So as you can see, I'm doing exactly the same thing here, adding some hot glue to a bit of felt and just hot gluing the zip tie to the bottom and leaving it to set. And I will leave a link below where I got these signs from. It's from a site on Etsy. You can get them pre-drilled, which means that you can put the zip ties through the holes, but I like this way of doing it because you haven't got any holes in the front, especially if it's going to be sitting right on top of the wreath, and obviously the full focus is on that gorgeous little sign. So next I'm just having a look to see exactly where I want it to sit, and kind of just poking those zip ties through the mesh and flipping the whole thing over and just having a look to see if I can attach them to the actual wreath frame. Now to begin with, I'm not pulling it tight, I'm just basically securing it in place very, very carefully, because otherwise it might tilt one way or the other, and you know with a zip tie, once you've pulled it tight, there's no budging it. So be careful at this stage not to over tighten it, just very gradually just build up the tension and just keep flipping it backwards and forwards until you're happy with how the sign is looking on the front of the wreath. which is what I'm doing here. I've just flipped it back over, making sure that it's sitting in the center, and then obviously adjusting one of the zip ties accordingly, depending on whether you want it to go slightly up or down, and just tightening that tension. So it might take a couple of attempts for you to flip the wreath backwards and forwards and just tightening those zip ties accordingly. But once you're happy with how it's sitting, you just snip those zip ties off and you're all done. Okay, I lied. We're nearly all done. I found these large nappy pins, pink ones, in our local store, and I thought they'd be really cute just to add a couple on the wreath. I think all in all I added 4 just in a random position. And all I'm doing is just attaching it to one of the pipe cleaners, opening the pipe cleaner back up and then closing it at the back of the wreath. And as you can see, I'm just finding different places to attach these, and then there you go, putting it through the pipe cleaner, twisting it around a couple of times, and then hiding the pipe cleaner at the back of the wreath. And we'll be snipping off those ends later. It just adds a bit of fun. So have a look in your local stores to see what sort of things you can come up with. They have these large nappy pins. They had some little baby bottles. Just use your imagination, but it just adds a bit more detail. And once that is all attached, literally all we have to do now is to hide those pipe cleaners. So all you do, you twist them to the back of the frame, twist them around a couple of times, get a sharp pair of scissors or pliers and cut off those ends. I then kind of twist them around the frame, turn your wreath over, give it a bit of a fluff up, and there you go. And of course, I've made this wreath for my Etsy store as a little baby girl announcement, but it's just to show you the technique which you can mix up for many different types of themes. So I hope you enjoyed the video. For further inspiration, make sure to come and find me at onceaduckling.com.